Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our In the Inbox series. We are in question number 103 today. This is a series where we answer questions that have been asked by folks like you about the real estate industry here. So let's answer this question from Anthony. Anthony found a property. He identified a property that he wanted to put an offer on, that he wanted to own. So he came back and asked us this question: how much should I offer? How much should I offer? So as a general rule of thumb, typically we'll put in an offer at 10%, like up to 10% off for a property that's valued up to or listed at up to $100,000 US. And then typically anywhere from 5 to 10% off the listed price for anything listed over 100,000 US. But at the end of the day, it is truly going to depend on the seller. There are a handful of other considerations as well when you're putting that offer in, but I can tell you that this general rule of thumb goes absolutely out the window if the seller says no. But with that being said, let's go through a couple of the other considerations. Number one is, how long has it been on the market? How long has it been on the market? Now, there are a handful of considerations about why a property could be sitting on the market, but sometimes when I see a property on the market for too long, especially one that seems like it's really good value, it's because the seller is not willing to move on the price. We did just see this with a condo in town listed at 250. We brought a couple of offers, that 235, even we went up to 240, but the seller was not willing to accept it. He wanted 250, exactly what it was listed at. So sometimes it's on the market for a little bit longer if the seller is not necessarily willing to go down, but other times it's on the market because maybe the agent isn't necessarily marketing it well. It's not getting in front of enough eyes in order to be seen. So there are some considerations in there. The second one is, when did the seller buy the property? When did the seller buy the property? So typically what I like to advise folks is, if you're looking for appreciation on your property, you typically hold on to it for at least 3 years. So if you're finding that somebody just bought a property last year and they're already selling, they're probably going to be wanting a profit on it. So their sales price, their list price is going to be higher than it should be because they want to be making a profit on it. But maybe we haven't seen that appreciation in the past year that they've owned it. So if they've held it for a longer period of time, that's better. There's more room for negotiation because they've had more time there for it to appreciate. Third and fourth, this is why is the seller selling? So in some cases, they absolutely need the money right away, right? There's a medical emergency that they need the funds for. Others, it's, they've had the property long enough, they'll sell it. They're in no real rush to sell it. If they're in no real rush to sell it, then they're not necessarily going to be entertaining offers that come in low. Question number four is there road access? Is there road access? So of course you want to make sure that there is access to your property. There's an easement that goes past your property so that you can access it by road. But however, not all the time that access is going to be cleared. So you want to make sure there's cleared access to the property. If there's not, then I see that as a room to negotiate, a negotiation tool, because there's no guarantee when that road goes in. Now, the buyer will have to be aware that if that road is never put in by the government or not by the time that they want to be building, then they're going to be the ones typically who are paying for that clearing and the build cost of the road. Number five, are there utility hookups? In some areas like Secret Beach is off grid. So you're going into that development, into that complex or area, knowing that there are no utility hookups, that it is completely off grid. However, if you are riding along the East Coast, there's electricity that goes up to most of the coast, not all of it though. So if you don't have electricity access, what that means is that there could be some room for negotiation there. Typically, if there's no public water, that's not really considered something for negotiation because a lot of the island is on its own water system, whether it's water catchment, rainwater catchment, a well, reverse osmosis system. So it just really, that part I would say is not necessarily as important when it comes to your negotiations. And number six, are there any known issues? Are there any known issues? I would hope that if a seller knows about the issue, they're going to be pricing the property accordingly with that issue in mind, and that is why it is priced at that. However, this is always something that's really important to ask. Something else that I'll mention is, even if the seller's agent says that there are no known issues, it is going to be so critical for you and your agent to walk the property. We just did this a few days ago. I asked the seller's agent if there were any known issues. They were not there on the tour with us. So, we were able to see the property inside and out without them really being there, which probably was better for us. And we saw there were a lot of wooden planks and decks and whatnot that on the deck that needed to be replaced. And when I asked them about that issue, they said, oh, no, there's no real issues there. The other thing is we talked to the caretaker who said one of the roofs needed to be replaced, but that wasn't something that was disclosed. So it's really important, of course, for you to go walk the property, but most importantly, always get that inspection, because then you'll get any information that maybe wasn't disclosed before. In addition to that, what are comps going for? Sometimes here it's really hard to find a really true accurate comp because there aren't all different types of real estate. We're just starting now to get into the luxury real estate, but even when it comes to beachfront properties, I mean, between miles, right over the bridge, like mile 0, mile 1, up to mile 4, there are only a couple of beachfront parcels there. So it's really hard to give comps sometimes. And because we don't have an MLS, there's not a recorded history of what properties went for. So this is really what you're going to be hoping that your real estate agent can help with, is based on their experience in the market. What did they see these properties going for previously? In addition to that, is it a developer sale? So typically when you're coming into a property that is through a developer, so, Aruna, for example, Aruna is a pre-construction property. You have a single family homes there on the canal, and it's a home lot package with the developer. The developer is not inclined to be entertaining offers, right? This is the price. This is what it is. You're either going for it or you're not. And so in that case, you don't typically put in an offer that's underneath the listing price. It's either this is what you're paying or you don't. So some considerations, but again, this is where your real estate agent is going to help you. Now, as a real estate agent, I do my absolute best to guide the clients to what we think would be a fair price. Sometimes we do have the clients who say, just let's lowball it, let's see what they say. Who knows, maybe they're really ready to get rid of it. Obviously some people do take offense. Unfortunately, sellers do take offense if it comes in too low, but I always see it as a point of negotiation. If they're not willing to negotiate from there, then, there's something a little off. But with that being said, let's go into a couple of examples. So here is an example of a property. This is located 10 miles north, and you can see these 3 X's here. These were the 3 lots that we were looking at. So this top lot was the one that we wanted to put the offer in. It was being listed at 100,000, but you can see there's an easement, there's a road easement here, but it's not cleared. So when we were putting in our offer, we had some considerations in mind. Is number 1, that there's no access there. Number 2, this green lot was going for $10,000. This is also for sale, this 10 lot. This green lot. This green lot was also for sale for $90,000, so $10,000 underneath what the one that we wanted to go for. So we thought we had some good negotiation points, right? Is there was no cleared access to the property. We don't know when that's ever going to go in. And the buyer was aware of this, and he said if he wants to build and the road's not in, he understands that he would have to put the road in. And then also that the green lot was going for 90,000 versus this one, which is going for 100,000. However, we got the counter back from the seller, and they said they're firm on 95,000. So, I mean, for me, that was a bit of a turnoff, because his reason for wanting to be 95,000 is because he heard a road might be getting done soon. And my rebuttal to that was, he heard it might be going in soon, but it's not in. Until the road is actually in, I don't consider that as an accurate or a fair rebuttal and pricing. However, he's firm on it. Again, it's back to the seller. What the seller wants, his rebuttal price was 95,000. We decided to skip out on that opportunity. I do think in terms of real estate here, some prices are just really high in the sky numbers. Some sellers come in and want a certain minimum for it. And so there's just not necessarily that negotiation here. But, from what I would see with this top lot, there should be negotiation because of those 2 factors that we put into play, was the road access and the comp that was just a couple of lots below. So with that being said, we found the other lot and decided that that was a better fit for our client based on how that seller was deciding and willing to negotiate with us. Now, oh, I missed one here too. Okay, so here's another example. So this was a lot that we found. It was listed at 550. The client, he's a great guy. He's like, let's just put in for 15% lower. Let's put in for 15% lower. We said that was low, right? That was really low, but hey, we'll do it anyway. We got this message back from the seller's agent. Thanks so much. This was very low. Yes, we did understand that, but the client decided to come to 508, which is actually less than I thought that they would want. I thought they would want more than that. So that was a big win, I think, for everybody. It's a fantastic lot. It's 100 by 200 on the water in a really desirable location. And again, when you think of comps, there's one about half a mile down the beach. It's a 50 foot by 100 foot going for 350. So when I look at numbers and I look at comps, I think this is a really, really great value. But again, sometimes you just start a little low with the anticipation of there being negotiations. So again, always try, never be afraid to submit now. However, I would just be conscious, like don't submit something that's 50% off unless there's really a reason behind that, right? Be conscious about what it is you're submitting and why you're submitting it, because you don't want to offend the other party. So with that being said, if you are looking at real estate here, do reach out to us, info@lunarealtybelize.com, info@lunarealtybelize.com. We'd love to get these resources over to you. You know, it is really important as with you as a foreigner looking at property here in Belize to understand the market here. It is kind of the wild, wild west, I would say, but everything is going to be contingent on you finding that right realtor, the one who's been in the market for a while, has experience, you know, and knows what's going on generally. So we have a great team here at Luna Realty, and I would love to introduce you to them if you're interested in meeting our team while you're here on the island. My name is Rachel Jensen. I'm the broker owner of Luna Realty, and there is the best way to contact us. I would say email info@lunarealtybelize.com, and we can go from there. All right, everyone. Thanks again. Once again, thank you so much for tuning into our session, and we hope to see you in Belize sometime. Bye-bye.